Maine is historically one of the coldest places in America, with large amounts of snow and bitterly frigid temperatures. Being homeless in Maine is not just a struggle. It can be a matter of life and death. There are numerous homeless shelters throughout the U.S., but few have started inside a church. That's where this story begins, when Pastor Barry was faced with a decision to make when a friend of his was about to be homeless.
Before we can share Jesus, we got to show Jesus. When a guy's belly's empty and he's scared, or he's got a whole family and they're scared and they're hungry, and you talk about eternity, they don't even discuss eternity. Eternity's not on their mind right now. What's on their mind is, how am I going to get through this day?
So homelessness to me is not knowing where your next meal is coming from, not knowing if it's raining outside, that you're going to be covered at some point. And that's where my brother and I were our whole lives.
I will tell you that the one thing that many of our residents have in common is they've been hurt. They've been hurt by society, they've been hurt by family, they've hurt themselves. Things happen in their lives that lead them usually toward addiction, which generally means they lose their jobs, they lose their houses, they lose these things because the addiction has become so great.
I didn't know I was homeless when I was a kid, because homelessness to me, and I think to society in general, is a man with a beard, drenched in pee, sleeping on the sidewalk. And when I got involved with this ministry, I found out that homelessness was something totally different.
Even though Pastor Barry knew little about homelessness, God gave him the wisdom to help out his friend by allowing him to sleep on a couch in the counseling office of the church. When the fire chief and code enforcement officer showed up, Pastor Barry was forced to make another decision: shut down the ministry or meet code requirements. With no church staff, no money, and most of his congregation leaving at this point, Pastor Barry had one person he could count on, his wife Selma. Together they prayed and believed that God would provide a separate building, and He did, right next to the church.
I get people come to my door that are families with little kids. I have pregnant women. We got a 10-day-old baby here right now. She was on the street. She wasn't doing drugs and alcohol. She was just a pregnant woman with no money.
In 12 years, we went to 12 schools, and there was not a shelter like this shelter.
The impact of being homeless runs deep into the family, even affecting young children.
Boy, I tell you, it gives me goosebumps, just thinking about it. We were in a bus station in San Francisco. I was in first grade, my brother was in second grade. I just remember it just feels like thousands of people, like Disney World, right? Just packed. We were so scared, my brother and I were so scared, that we found the center of the station before they called our bus tickets to go where we weren't sure where we're going. And we sat back to back. So he says, "Ken, I'll watch your back, and you watch my back until they call."
The shelter is providing both security and stability while helping people overcome fear as a result of hopelessness.
God's Word says that we need to be out there. It is our duty to be out there helping those. We shouldn't be leaving it up to the government to be out helping people. It's our duty. It's a commandment to be out there helping people and showing the love of Christ, because that's His example, and we need to follow His example.
The testimony of God's provision and restoration of people's lives spread to nearby cities, to the point that the church lay leaders got involved by serving the Lord at a deeper level.
We have beds for 24 men that find themselves without a home. We have 5 staff here that this is their ministry. Boy, the joy comes when God gets the glory, and men come in here and their eyes start to open, and they understand who Jesus is and how much God loves them.
It is exciting to see these churches come together, working to serve the Lord. One might be curious how they got started.
I read this book, Sheltered by Jesus, written by Pastor Richard Barry, and I said, wow, that's God. That's God working in that place. And we had Pastor Richard Berry come down and speak at our church, Unity Bible Church here in Lewiston, and spoke to him after the service. So, what can I do to help? He said, well, just come up. Just come up and hang out with the guys and get to know the guys. So I started doing that on a weekly basis, and then they asked me to come up and do a Bible study once a month, and Hal started doing the same thing. So we were both going up and, and spending time at the shelter in Skowhegan. And Unity Bible Church was given some good endowments. We knew we should buy a building, and we should have a shelter here, and it should be modeled after Sheltered by Jesus in Skowhegan, because Lewiston needs the same thing. I mean, really, what town doesn't? What town doesn't have homeless? And what town what town doesn't have people that need Jesus? We all need Jesus, right?
It's encouraging to experience life transformation in not only those being served, but also those there to serve.
There's a joy that comes from seeing a man that says, I've never prayed before, but can I pray tonight? And then they look at you and they say, so what do I do? And you just say, just talk to God from your heart. And then they talk to God from their heart, and it's like, wow, wow. It leaves you speechless, and it just gives you goosebumps, and just, you get teary-eyed and you go, wow, God is working in this place.
How can you not get excited about experiencing people's lives being restored? Like this one man who goes by Tinker.
It's an amazing story, because when he come in, I hugged the new residents coming in, and I hugged Tinker. And he'd been living out in the woods for 2 years, him and his wife, with no running water, no septic, and a little camper stuck in. And I mean, he couldn't spell shower when he came there. And I hugged him, the tears ran down my cheeks, but they were from the odor, not from, I wasn't crying. And he'd been on drugs and alcohol, the whole 9 yards. One night after Saturday night service, I remember I came to him, he was in the hallway, and I said, Tinker, I want to talk to you. So he said, what'd I do? And I go, well, you didn't do anything wrong. I want to ask you something. He said, what do you want to know, Pastor? I said, would you want to be on my staff? And I'm not exaggerating. He dropped to his knees. He threw his hands in the air. He started crying and praising Jesus. And then he turned to me, he says, nobody in my entire life from a child up has ever shown me respect. And he cried over being staff.
What's this ministry mean to you?
It means an opportunity to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. And to me, that means I have an opportunity to give back to the community, to change my former life, become a better person, and to make a difference.
It's exciting to see God's faithfulness and provision for this ministry to operate, especially when it doesn't add up on paper.
You see that bread in that van this morning, that's all free. That comes in on a weekly basis. It's all Jesus stuff. We don't buy anything. And what you saw is just a little piece of what we get. And it's just an ongoing thing. Jesus just keeps supplying and supplying, man. They keep seeing stuff come in for free. They ask us, where do you get all your money? We don't have a budget. So where's it come from? It comes from Jesus. Well, how's that work? Well, Jesus moves the hearts of people, and the next thing they know, they're giving to us.
Since I came here, the Lord has increased the food supply from just a few things to every single day, picking up truckloads of food from various vendors. Our freezers are full, the pantry is full. We feed everyone in the shelter, and we supply food to over 2,000 people in the outer neighborhood through our food pantry, and it's all by the grace of God.
What began as a men's shelter is now expanded into meeting the needs of families as plans are in place to construct a separate family unit.
I can't wait till these families start coming in and going, wow, man, this is awesome. And then tell them this, why you've got this is Jesus. And these people are gonna grab Jesus. You're gonna see little kids getting saved, along their moms and dads. Oh man, it's gonna be incredible. It's gonna be absolutely, absolutely incredible.
Personally, I'd love to see every soul on earth saved. And I'd love to see no one homeless. And thirdly, I'd love to see everyone showing love. It's not up to just the pastor, it's up to everyone.
Jesus said that there were two great commandments. First, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. But he said the second is like unto it, to love your neighbor as yourself. Does everybody have to open up a homeless shelter in order to show this love? No. But shouldn't we, as Christians, be called to be involved in some way?
We don't just tell them, we don't just preach to them and teach them, we tell them to read the Bible. If churches would start taking these people in, and God does such great things in their lives, they want to pay back. They want to do something. And we're missing out in churches by not taking in these homeless people and giving God a chance to do a reformation with them and watch what they can do. And they become an integral part of the church, a working part of the church, and not just a sitting in the pew part of the church.
One of our purposes here in this world is to spread the gospel, to save souls. So whether it's giving financially, whether it's praying, whether it's giving even physical stuff, it's saving souls, a lot of souls. And these people, it might be their only opportunity, to hear about Christ.
I've been reborn. The alcoholic and mean person that I was for so many years has completely died and gone away. I have peace more in my heart. I have less confusion. I have less anxiety and anger. But the Spirit of God has just worked in my life to just make me an entirely different person. And a day doesn't go by when I don't thank the Lord for this wonderful gift that I just wished I would have known sooner.